and got a plastic ammo can and put my camera in this. You can see very simply, I cut a hole here, put a filter on it, and I had to look through it. Uh-oh, what are we doing? And I had to have a way to see it in the back. Ding dong. Help me. This is called intermission. Here's what we want. So let me get to that. Other research. I think I know what it did. My little controller's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 buttons. So here's that setup. Here's that plastic can. I still have my flashes in the exclusive Walmart protections. This is the trigger. These are just trail cameras. I often use the trail cameras in conjunction with a trap camera to figure out, what's going on exactly. So that helps me. Dead deer, roadkill deer, tripods. I got enough tripods to, I don't know, whatever. Some of them are very old. This is interesting. One of the first, anytime I put up a roadkill, almost always, almost invariably, crows are the first ones to find it. And once they start calling, other birds, eagles and hawks, cue off of that, I believe. Now, I've never read that anywhere, but I've watched enough of these to form my own hypothesis. And of course, crows are very wary and very smart. One of the things I want to point out here on this particular picture is, you saw a picture of tripod and coyotes down on the trail. Coyotes can move a deer away within a day or two. So what do you have to do? If you look carefully, right there, it's tied down, it's staked down. It's a rebar, driven in the ground, and wire tied around it. I've had them carry off a deer within like 2 days. Now, I don't know if it's one doing it or more than one or one, but they can certainly do it. Okay, I'm going to insert here a little story that just happened this week. There, let's see, a week ago, I had a roadkill out and had a lot of stuff on it. But with hunting season, and I mentioned, we have public ground around us, there's a lot of hunters. So on Friday before deer opening on Saturday, I picked all my cameras up and brought them in because, we do get trespassers, and there are, people who would stoop to such a lowly thing as to steal my camera. But I went out there was about half a deer left from that one I put out, and I went out there, and it was, in 2 days, it was absolutely gone. The stakes had been pulled up. Those big tent stakes that were holding the ground had been pulled up, and the carcass had been carried off. And I didn't have a camera in it because I brought them all in, and I have no idea what would be big enough and strong enough to pull those stakes out and carry that half of the carcass off. I got an idea. I would love to photograph it. Sasquatch. Chupacabra. I almost convinced myself that it's not mine. I mean, there was easily 70 pounds of meat left. Hogs come quickly? I sure can. And, they're not shy about what they eat. I hope this doesn't gross anybody out. Nature mystic, be a nature mystic. Pulling that meat, using the wings like I mentioned earlier. Red shoulders coming. fight each other, mantle and fight each other. This is the behavior part of it. Get eagles will come. I've seen as many as 5 eagles there. A couple on the, sitting in the trees and 3 or 4 on it and stuff, going for it. Now this is interesting. In my constant strive to get something. You see that tree? That tree didn't grow up in that field. I cut it down and concreted it in there for eagles and hawks and things to land on. I'm wicked. Here's a nice eagle going for it. The thing with the trap camera, you can set it, you know, whatever distance you want, and it won't bother the animal. One time, okay, here's another story. I have lots of stories. One time I thought, oh, I need to camouflage the legs of this tripod because it could scare something. So I got some brush and put on it, you know, some old dead oak branches with leaves still on them, kind of strapped them on there with tape and stuff. You know what happened? A deer came up and rubbed his antlers on it. Knocked the camera over. This is pretty interesting. This is what I was talking about. These hawks and eagles, he's grabbing a piece of that hide and literally stripping it off of the deer. They have such tremendous strength. I mean, you know what, 8 foot wingspan, pulling back on that, he was able to skin that deer. That immature eagle. Vultures, they're around. You get vultures sometimes. I got vultures and eagles fighting, vultures fighting hawks, a lot of stuff. Now this story, this is one of my best stories. I'm guaranteed this is I don't know if it's my very best story tonight, but it's one of my favorites. So this is in daytime with the trap camera. And here's a coyote, not tripod. And he's over here eating, enjoying this lovely ripe deer. Look at his eyes. He is always looking. You'll see a couple more pictures of him. He's always looking around. He doesn't hardly ever put his eyes down to see what he's eating. Most of the time, the behavior is such that he's always on the lookout. This deer, like many others, was staked down, so they couldn't pull it away. They will eventually, tear it apart and get the legs and stuff off, but it takes a lot longer than it was not. So, just look at those intense eyes, holy cow. He's up there, he's gonna have some deer, and he starts to pull it, eat on it, and pull it, but the feet are staked down, okay? And the deer is frozen. And he pulls it, there's one of the 10 stakes. You pull that 10 stake out, but the other 10 stake held. So the feet are anchored, and the deer is frozen, and he pulls it right side up, like it's sitting up. And so I go over there, I walk over there, and I gotta go over this little hill. And I gotta walk over this little hill, and I see this. I see this deer sitting up. His name is Lazarus. I don't know. But what the heck? That deer has arisen. So anyway, lots of stories. One of my favorites. Okay, now, one of the things that I wanted to do is put some flashes on it so I could get color pictures at night. Because that's when a lot of these scavengers and predators activity happens. So you can use a flash. Now, I'm going to demonstrate that in a little bit, how that works, but it's pretty interesting. I didn't want to tell you that. One of the things I wanted to do was get a color picture of that bobcat at night. So I go online and I start researching how do trappers trap bobcats. You know what they use? Bobcat pee. So I got a jar of bobcat pee. You can order it, you know. Amazon sells it. And I got it and I put it out. And they also recommended the trappers almost always tie a feather above where they put their pee, because bobcats, like house cats, are curious. And they say that they will come, you know, a quarter mile away if they can see it, to see one of those feathers. So I set it up, put my bobcat pee out, and also bobcat something or other that really stunk. I don't know what it was, but it's what trappers use. You know, you gotta wear gloves. This is nasty stuff. So I wanted to get a picture of the cat, and I did get a picture of the cat. This is a feral cat. Came around, I put my stuff on it. So you can see the little toy I got to attract him. But that wasn't all. You never know.
Is that your dog?
No. Belongs to another neighbor, the other direction. It's not Michael's dog. So here's some night pictures. Coons are very, very, very common. Like you saw that one picture, 5 of them there. Mothers will bring all their babies. Of course, their favorite place to eat, if you don't know, is the rear end. And they will almost always, coons and possums, will almost always start eating at the rear end. Oh, look at me. Snow on the ground down there. There's one of the possums. Standoff between possums and coons.
Your animals are well fed. They're big.
Thanks to speeders on Highway Y. I mean, we can live out there. Slow down when we go on Y through the basket area. We don't go through there at 60 miles an hour at night. There's a barred owl came to it, pretty interesting. Again, I did not know they were scavengers. Here's another one, this is a different deer, another one out. This is one of my favorite pictures. He flew right in front of the camera. Caught him. Blood and guts on his talons and beak. Okay, back, remember earlier I said we have a fish pond? This little screech owl would come at night. Excuse me, I knew he was there because the trail camera, I caught him. So I set up my trap camera. Man, he came just like he was supposed to. What's he doing there? Here, eating fish. Well, I got him carrying something. Anybody want to guess what that is? There you go. It's a frog. He called it a frog. And so I did some research. Yeah, they eat frogs. Okay, this is another one of my favorite stories. These are flying squirrels, of course. And I think we've got about, I don't know, 8 or 10 bluebird boxes up. And when I clean them out in the spring, I can tell if it's got a bluebird or a chickadee or a field mouse or flying squirrels in it. And I get a couple of the boxes that will get flying squirrels in it. And so there they are, living in their little box on the tree, having a great time. I got him going up. See his eye? I have 3 flashes on it, and I'll explain that later. But you know, that's not the moon, that's not a double moon or something. That's the flash reflection. So there's one flying in. I put some sunflower seeds on top of the box. We got one flying in, which I thought was pretty good. Then I got this one, him flying in, just totally in midair. And you can see how sharp his little feet and stuff are. He's just frozen, and I'll explain that in the next slide. there's the setup I used to get that flying squirrel. Okay, here's the parts. There's the squirrel's box, and that's the tree he was flying from. So here's my camera. It's in this big box here, which I'm gonna show. And I used 3 flashes. Here, here, and here. Oh, flash 1, 2, 3. I also had a game camera there just to see what's going on. And this is my trigger, that's that PIR Scout. And the reason that you use 3 flashes is because to freeze them in the air, you have to have a very, very short flash duration. So these flashes, you can turn the power way down to like 1/2, 1/4, 1/16, all the way down to 1/64. And the way that works is it shortens the duration. So if you turn it way down, instead of being 1/1200th of a second, it'll be a 24,000th of a second. And that's what you need to freeze them in the air like that. So you've got to have more flashes because each one makes a slot. So they're all set up. That's how I got it.
Are they all set up with Bluetooth to the trigger?
They're set up with, it's not Bluetooth, it's radio wireless thing. Maybe some of the newer ones are Bluetooth, which I will show. Okay, there we go. And here's what the squirrel sees. Oh my God. But really, it doesn't, the experience that I've had, because this really doesn't bother me. Oh, and last week, I put the trail camera on that box again, and they are there again. So I'll be working on trying to get some more of them. There's some behaviors of deer fighting, stay away from me. There's a couple bucks fighting. There's a nice buck. This is one of the bigger bucks we call Goliath. I sent this off to be scored. If any of you are deer hunters, they scored this one about 160. There he is again.
So the track cameras don't tell you the date of the time?
Yeah, it's on the slide. It's on the exit on the slide on the original. Fox came back, and guess what? I got my bobcat. This was the end of last year, the beginning of this year. He came back, and I was able to get him. He fed on that deer for about 2 weeks, and when he left, it was fat. Here's one after eating some of it. I'll go back. I kind of like that one because it looks like he's praying before dinner. And here's some more. Okay, waterproof boxes. This is the camera part I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but I've gone to these Pelican type waterproof boxes that are from Harbor Freight, and you'll see those in a minute. They're not too expensive. You can make them, take a piece of plexiglass and make a window for your flash, and for the camera, I use a filter to shoot through. There's the back of it. That's the radio controller there. Camera, it doesn't make any difference what kind you use. The only thing I would say is don't use your most expensive camera. If you've got an old camera sitting out, in a closet or something, get that baby out, get a trigger and put on it, and it'll work. You can even, you don't even have to have a trigger. A lot of the cameras have what is called multiple exposures. You can set it to take a picture every minute for all day if you want, and you will probably get something. The flash, I do recommend get a name brand flash. We were using some that were Chinese cheap ones, but they don't have a sleep mode. So that meant when they weren't being used, the batteries were still on, and they would only last for 100 pictures. With the setup I've got now, I can easily get 1,000 pictures a night. Take 16 batteries for one setup. And this is kind of technical, but I want to show you here the difference. A deer, if you think about it, he's gonna come in there and kind of stand around and be there for a while. So I set it to delay for 10 seconds and then 5 seconds between pictures. But the flying squirrel, man, he's gonna come in there, zoom, 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 and be gone. So I set it for just fire almost instantly 1 second, and every take a picture every second. So the deer, go flash, flash. The flying squirrel will go flash, 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 flash.
What is the delay? Explain the delay.
The delay is in the control box, in the scout control box. And you just set that for whatever you want.
What's the purpose of it?
Well, if you got an animal, that you, like for the deer and bobcat, I want them to come up there and kind of start feeding. So I wait about 5 seconds.
So you don't want them to hit the other.
Right, okay. That's good. Security, well, my neighbor knows this guy. This is not a thief. This is another neighbor. But we have, anytime you put stuff out, it is susceptible. Now, we keep all ours on our property, so we've been pretty lucky. We did have some cards stolen one time. They didn't take a camera, but they took the cards out because they were on our property illegally. They knew, they saw the camera, and I think they knew that they were recognizing it. Here's some stuff I photographed. Take a look at that. Deer and more deer. So to do this, there's quite a bit of work involved. Go out in the morning, get all the batteries in the car, bring it home, charge up the batteries, analyze it, set it for daytime, go back late in the afternoon, get the daytime pictures out, reset the camera night settings, check everything, come back, check the cards, put everything on the charger again. So, this guy's coming next month,
I heard he was gonna work from home.
Okay. Horse go. And don't emergency horse. Okay. This is where I normally stop. But tonight and tonight only, for very special reasons, you've probably seen this on TV. But wait, there's more. Harder now. For limited time only, special shark feature. Do any of you remember a lady named Kay Stewart? You guys would, we would. She was a good friend of ours. Kay, my wife, and Kay had known each other. Kay Stewart had known each other since elementary school or something. Middle school, I don't know. I'm gonna get corrected. So she passed away this spring. And her husband said, don't make any memorials, don't give money to anybody, but get a pretty rock in her name. So we did. And so in March, we built a bubbler water feature. So this is the special little thing tonight, because I know from my operatives that there are some people in this audience that are interested in building a bubbler. Maybe there'll be more. But I'm not lying. Within minutes, this is March, we have waxwings coming to it. The sound of that water attracts it like never before. Here it is, without the intro thing. Landscapes evolved. By this fall, we've got, we don't have 100 yet, but probably 80 species of birds that we photographed in there. fix it so it's got branch trees, you know, they like to ladder down. And I posted something on the website about them laddering down. They'll land in a tree and come down lower and lower and lower and lower till they get to the water. And like that stick there is like the last rung on the ladder, and they'll often land on that before they get in the water. Took this last week. It's interesting, some of the birds drink right out of the bubble, right out of the fountain. Some go down in the pool, some right out of the bubble. So, okay, that's it. So now, demonstration time. You know, let's see, how do we get the lights back on? There she goes. Okay. So, this is the little trigger. I'm always in the dark. This is the little trigger. This is the little thing that's programmable. You have to, with this one, you have to hook it up to a computer to program it. So a lot of people take a laptop out in the field. I don't really have a good laptop for that, so I have to bring it in. So you turn it on, just press this little button. And you can see the red light. It's got to kind of program itself for a minute. This is the camera set up. There's a wire that goes from here to the camera, trigger wire. And then this thing here on top is the controller that fires the flashes. Now I just brought one flash tonight, but you know, you can as many as you want. The thing is, I told you that thing is programmable. There's probably 100 settings on that. You got all your camera settings, there's probably another 100 settings on that. You got your controller, there's another 100 settings on that. You got your flash, the flash controller has the same 100 settings, and the flash probably has 100 settings. So what that means is, there's a lot of ways to screw up. So, and believe me, I've done them all. So, just put this in here. So I've got, turn the camera on. Camera is on. Now this is interesting. You can't use autofocus at night because it's dark and your camera can't focus in the dark. So you got to focus it manually, and then I use tape to tape the lens in the right spot. And this is the flash. I'm going to turn it on. I got a couple of things here. This is an external battery pack. It holds 6 extra batteries, so I get, you know, literally thousands of pictures. Turn on the controller. Turn on the flash. Let's see if it goes. I don't know. Picture. I don't know if you can see it. So you can set that, you know, however many pictures you want or whatever exposures you want. You see that? Now watch. Remember how many seconds I said I had delay? 1, and then 2 pictures with a 1 second delay. So, what are you doing? Maybe I had 2 or 3 second delay. Oh, because I was walk up here.
Now we know what he does out in the woods.
Oh, I'm a deer. Oh, I'm tripod. Now, in the back, I've had a trail camera on you all evening. So, What kind of questions you got?
How do you build a bubbler? Where do you find the pumps?
Uh-huh. Several years ago, you had Marty Terpstra here, and she has a little video about making a very simple bubbler. And you dig a hole, you get a 5-gallon bucket, you dig a hole a little bit bigger than the bucket, make a little shallow pool there. You put a pump, well, you put landscaping cloth and hardware wire, drill holes in the bucket, put that around there so water can get in there. And you put your pump down in there and a heater. You have a hose that comes up through a rock. We were fortunate to find some rocks on our property that were totally holy. I didn't have to drill it. But it comes on at 7 in the morning. It's off at 5 at night. So the time works great.
I think it was like a year ago last fall, we had Julie Zizica was in Columbia, Kibushaka, Birding Association. If you go to her website, she has a very even simpler setup for a bubbler, which we use pretty successfully.
If you do it, I mean, you will be literally, I don't know, flabbergasted at the stuff that comes in. This morning, we had, let's see, probably a couple hundred robins and maybe 50 waxwings, hermit thrush, yellow-bellied sapsucker, bluebird, what else?
You got a higher class neighborhood, I think.
So Easter toy, was it?
Trap cam set up on the bubbler?
No, not always. I mean, I do sometimes, but I had a trail camera. So we're doing Project Feeder Watch. And so I can, we don't sit there all day and watch it. So I went back and looked and, flicker. I did get we have a flicker that comes about 7:50, about 8:05 every morning. So I got him on that, was able to see that. Got a bluebird about noon. So just times you aren't looking, you can go back and look at that. But the downside is it's a trail camera picture, but it's easily identifiable. But I think between yesterday afternoon and say noon today, I had 4,000 dollars. So our computer's pretty fast and it blows up instantly. So I go.
So some of those really great pictures that you're getting, are you using it like the game cam, so you know
No,
when they're
so
there?
those pictures at the end were with a real camera.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
This is sort of more recommendation. We've used trail cams for years, both for hunting and just wildlife guys, especially in droughts, that we go out watering hole and see what comes in. But in terms of sourcing, if people aren't sure how to get started, there's a small business in Springfield called Trail Cam Pro that sells trail cams, and they are super knowledgeable and really good to work with. Their website has a kind of choice tool, because they can overrun just hundreds of the damn things. The options are everywhere, it can drive you crazy. They've got a website tool that helps you enter. It's one of the better ones I've used for this kind of stuff that helps you go, okay, what do I want, what am I trying to do? It'll kind of narrow you in. If you call them, they're really good at talking stuff through with you, and they have, their service is excellent. We had a camera go bad after about a year, and they just replaced it, no questions asked. It wasn't a warranty. I just called it, hey, can you repair this? The battery tray went bad. They said, I'll send you another one, which I had to argue with them because I didn't want to out them another costly camera, and they're just like, no, that's how we do it. Tell people that's how we do it, so I am. But if you want to do something other than, Bass Pro or something, this is a small business in Springfield that I would strongly recommend as a good place to work with for choosing. Even simple ones like we have, it's a couple $100 trail cam. You can do a lot of the same stuff. You can set new video or film. You can do spacing between, how long between shots, what you want to do. It's got a lot of the same options for affordable. I would definitely recommend considering them as a source.
Well,
Experience.
I hope one of the things I left you with is those trail cameras aren't terribly expensive and they're a lot of fun.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
And I definitely, the thing is you're using tripods, and I would definitely agree with that. All these trail cams come with straps. But I never had ideas like pain in the butt to strap them to a tree and get the angle you want. Find a cheap tripod, in our case one that broke. We used to have a birding tripod that broke. One of the lowest leg broke, so now I just use it lower. It will save you hours and millions to just get a darn tripod and don't try to strap them to a
Yeah,
tree.
you'll notice I never used the strap, they all come in straps.
They're such a
But
pain.
I want my lights and stuff to be photographically nice, not trees. But they may or may not be.
If you do it, get a cheap tripod because straps will drop in the same.
They have a little stake rod that goes in, that you put your trail camera on and move it around. The other brand, this is a Cognizance, the other brand is called Camtraptions, and it's a little more expensive, but they want to sell you a total wireless, box, and they're wireless, they're flashes, they're all water sealed and everything. So they tend to be a lot more expensive to buy and stuff. Yeah.
Can I go back to the bubblers?
I knew.
Because I've been after him ever
Yeah.
since you got that bubbler on. And I've been watching it on Facebook. So what were the names, John and you, are the people that, you were mentioning some names of somebody who'd given a talk on how to do a bubbler.
Archie Terpstra.
Can you spell
It's
that?
MARGY, There is if you go online to YouTube, they've got like a 30-second video that describes exactly how we did it. Really pretty simple. We had the piece of line, I mentioned we had the fish pond, we had some liner left over from that, so that's what we used, so we didn't have to buy that. We go out in the country, got a lot of 5-gallon buckets and stuff, so.
What about the power source?
The other one is Julie Zickafus, Zickefose.
And that would be on the bubblers inside?
She was in town, she's based in maybe Colorado, but she
Ohio.
gave a nice talk, and her website has she actually charges to get a PDF, but it's not very much.
And you have-
What's the power source for the pump? and
We
the
just
water
have
source?
extension cable, outdoor extension cable that goes to, here's too much work.
And the water
Very-
source is just.
Just regular electricity. Oh, the water source? Well, it's captive,
Okay.
but birds drink a lot, and it evaporates a lot, so we pretty much have to put water in every day. And coons and possums, stray cats, everything coming out, so. And it might have a small leak, but we don't know. For the cats.
I think we checked it out, it's not.
We couldn't find the leaks. We made some mistakes, some mistakes are easy to do. We put some mulch close to where the water is, and the mulch, absorbed capillary action, absorbed the water, and so it was going down really fast. Keep your mulch away from the water. But, and as you saw in some of those pictures, the landscaping has evolved over the summer. But we got pretty much where we want it now. My friend from Jeff City's coming out tomorrow, Bob, photographer, excellent quality. He's gonna come out tomorrow at sunrise and photograph birds of the boulder. I'm sorry?
Does the pump shut off?
Yeah, it's got a timer on it, just where I plug it
It'll go
in.
dry.
I think it would, I don't know, and we put it in March, and the heater and everything, got through March, April, May. But this winter, if it gets sub-zero, I don't know. Maybe turn the pump off and leave the heater on, I don't know, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
The little pond pumps that I've used with the Julie Zickafus system, they're supposed to be able to go dry or be completely frozen and recover, and they do, but they don't do it forever. If you really neglect it, you'll die.
We got, I don't remember the gallons per hour on our pump, but it's bigger than what Margie recommended. It shoots out a stream that big. But some of those pictures, you can see it building up. Well, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.